All right, guys, welcome into the live stream tonight. We're checking out some of the different feeds and some of the different streams around the country, including Minnesota and LA. There's also some stuff happening down in Phoenix right now. There has been some ice raids as well down there. Now, we posted a video today for Drone News talking about how the FAA has issued moving TFRs, NOTAMs, that will affect where you fly, how far, how high. There's 3,000 feet perimeter around any federal agents in operation or convoys, which moving around your neighborhoods will pose quite an issue for most drone pilots out there. Now, the big thing about these moving TFRs and NOTAMs that the fact that they're not going to be actively listed in the drone apps, so you can't really find it in your phone when you're going to fly. If you're a commercial operator, it's the same thing. It's going to affect you as well as uh, first responders. So, first responders, uh, public safety operations, things like that, they're going to have to work around this. I'm sure that. Um, that's going to have to be something that is worked out between parties. Now, it also affects any moving vessels on the water that are currently federal operated. U.S. Coast Guard. If you have any questions about how to stay safe while you're flying tonight, go ahead and post it in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. We'll try to answer some of those questions. Um, and yeah, we're just still getting information as this is coming in from the FAA, and things may change day by day. So we don't really know what's going to happen in the next couple weeks, the next month. It's just we're just taking this day by day at this point, and trying to roll with the changes that are happening. So, in case in point, in Minneapolis, uh, again, people are out again tonight, and it looks like they're out full force again, practicing their right to protest, their freedom of speech. We did have another death yesterday, and things are getting really hot out there. So, let's talk about some of the things that you guys can do as drone pilots out there flying in this type of political environment. Number one of the things that I was really looking to do this year is find an AMA field that I could join. And I know a lot of people are AMA fields. I totally get that, but wouldn't it be nice to have a place to be able to just to be able to go and have some peace of mind, right? I think peace of mind is very short these days, and compassion may also be in short supply. So, someone sees you and approaches you, you're flying a drone, especially if you're in a town like St. Paul or any other place that has some of these protests happening right now. It's a good idea just to find somewhere else to fly, and really, that all boils down to what your intentions are, right? What are your intentions when you go out to fly? Are you going to be flying for hobby? Are you going to be doing a commercial effort? Are you going to be flying with the police department? All those things have to be taken in consideration. Now, I do think that first responders. I mentioned before that first responders may have to yield to some of these NOTAMs, but we're still getting information in on that as well. So I'll give you some more information on that particular subject if you are in the police department in a town where you have questions. We're going to do all the research for you guys. If you haven't seen it yet, we get a lot of questions from a lot of police departments around the country because not everybody has the correct information just very quickly. But yeah, this is an ongoing thing, and I don't know if it was me. Let me know in the chat if you would go and exercise what right now is your right to fly your drone. Would you go out and fly anywhere near something like this? Me personally, I would avoid these places. Um, The other thing is I have kids. I'm not obviously going to put myself in the middle of a situation like this where there could be violence. Not really my particular cup of tea, honestly, because I'd rather be here making videos for you guys and working on something that could be positive for the hobby. And that's just my particular my job. So let me know if you guys have any questions about this whole thing because it is pretty confusing. I think when things get like this, it is definitely a good idea to just kind of fall back as far as your drone piloting goes, because you're not really sure how people are going to react when they see you flying your drone.
Who work to silence us when we're finally speaking out for justice. But as nurses, we have a voice.
I know some of you guys will go out and fly anyway.
Not only to make rules,
I don't advise that.
but to call out the systems that cause those rules in the first place.
So if you live close to an area
But beyond
that
the
has
leaders,
something like this going on, let me know in the chat.
more deeply with what Alan fought and ultimately sacrificed his life for. The defense of migrants.
And it's pretty crazy. I have to kind of turn off the sound on some of these protests when I'm checking out some of these live streams because it's pretty intense. Even just watching it online, I can't imagine like being there right in the middle of the chaos. Um, but let us know where you're tuning in from tonight. Let me know if you've seen some of this stuff going on in your town or your city. Do you guys have protests currently? We have protests here in Portland tonight. In Seattle last night, they were shutting down the highways. They were blocking traffic. It's pretty crazy in Seattle, but probably not as crazy as St. Paul, Minnesota. But we also have to have stuff happening tonight down in Phoenix as well. So, if you are someone who frequents protests and you're watching this stream, if you wanted to ask me a question about drone piloting, First Amendment rights, things like that, this is where there is a gray zone that is trying to get resolved. And I think some of those litigations may pop up by certain parties depending on what media outlets they're with. They won't be able to use their drones. Welcome, Ja, to the stream. Shout out to the Bahamas. Nice and warm down there. Like to go down there and get some of that good old conch chowder. My dad lived down there for about 30 years. They called him a Conky Joe. A Conky Joe, white Bohemian. But yeah, if you're a protester and you're watching this video, from my perspective in this industry for many, many years, I my best advice for First Amendment rights right now, with the way things have been going with ICE, the administration, and just like this crowd control that we're seeing right now, it seems kind of escalated. So, I would probably not if you really wanna be someone who is, in independent media and you wanna cover a protest, I would do it from the ground. There are a lot of kind of rules of engagement with the police and with ICE that they're following these really strict protocols, but sometimes some of these guys are not following protocol, which we've seen. So you don't really know when you're just going to get pepper sprayed in the face. But I don't recommend taking your drone down to any of the protests, getting even close to them within the 3,000 foot perimeter, the convoys or federal agents, or 1,000 foot laterally, or 1,000 foot vertically, because 1,000 foot vertically actually higher than you're supposed to go at 400 foot. So yeah. What's up, CCH? Welcome to the chat. I see a couple questions coming into the chat right now. Um, yeah, CCH says I'd argue under the Supreme Court case, Bureau immigration laws are unconstitutional. There's a lot up to interpretation, and then there's just going to be certain laws that are probably straight violated on some of these accounts. Just depends on the situation. Now, I do know that from what I've heard and from what I'm being told from other police departments around the country, uh, some of the guys really know the law. You have others who are not quite as trained. They don't know as much of the law. Some of the other guys, your higher up guys, know what the law is on the street and how they can engage the public. Uh, and some of these guys will probably not have their jobs very long. So, uh, who knows? They may be removed. So right now we also have Denver, Colorado, in the middle of the screen. We have Seattle on the far right and Minnesota on the far left. And it is cold in Minnesota tonight, boys. Super cold. I can imagine being out walking the streets in Minnesota with it 9 degrees Fahrenheit, 35 in Denver, which seems kind of warm. And I'm pretty sure in Seattle it's not much warmer. It's probably about 30 to 35 in Seattle. It's pretty cold in Seattle. So drones do fall under First Amendment rights as far as freedom of the press because it has become a tool of the press, and not being able to cover a public event. Because we do have laws that protect filming in public that allows you to take your phone and film on the street without someone taking your phone. CCH says they didn't exist at the founding of this nation. Congress was only granted the power to decide who could be a citizen, who could vote. This is my legal argument. What we really need is a lawyer in the House or a team of lawyers that would understand some of this jargon. I can chime in from the drone side of things, but as far as First Amendment stuff, that gets pretty complicated. And like CCH said, it could go all the way to the Supreme Court. It really depends on if we had a situation, someone flying a drone, and yeah, either it was seized or the drone was shot down, footage confiscated. Yeah, Seattle's gonna be pretty cold tonight. It makes me cold just seeing these people walk around the streets. I did have a friendly conversation today with someone about some of the stuff that's happening, and our personal opinions are that I personally wouldn't be down there, um, putting myself out there. I feel like I can have my opinion. I can share it with my friends and family, um, but I don't know that I need to share it with a bunch of strangers. I know to some people that's like, oh well, Justin, you're not exercising your right uh, to be heard. But there's a bunch of ways you can be heard. You can be heard on the internet. Um, you can start a YouTube channel. You could be a political YouTube channel. Uh, did I hear the anti 2A propaganda from Trump? No, I didn't hear that. No, I did not hear that. That would be wild. It's hard to tell what's true these days or what's AI. But yeah, if you're a protester, I would leave the drone at home, um, especially this week, maybe next week. Stay away from the convoys. And I was also having a conversation with a police officer today, and we were talking about some of the First Amendment stuff, and how that's all going down, how it's complicated with drones, and I feel like it's a situation right now where people are getting confused in the public. They He was saying they see a police officer and they think that he is ICE. Uh, and even I saw a news report last night from the chief of police in Vancouver, Washington. He just wanted people to know that their departments don't do ICE operations. They don't assist them, and they have no affiliation with ICE. So try not to ask them too many questions about ICE, or they're getting people calling them ICE on the street, and so it's hard for people to tell the difference between ICE and just your local police department. Uh, the biggest way to tell the difference between ICE and your local police department would be just some of the stuff they're wearing. They both wear chest rigs, but a lot of the ICE guys are wearing the doo brown uh, earth color, affectionately known as doo brown. It seems to be the color of choice. CCH, sorry to hear about your job, bro. You should definitely start a YouTube channel. But I don't know, it's crazy out there right now. If you're looking for a place to fly, I would fly somewhere that's far away from any downtown. I would get in my car and drive out somewhere and find a nice, peaceful plot of forest away from airport zones and regions. Even try to avoid the small airports right now. Um, if you're going to Tiny Whoop or something like that, uh, FPV vegan, for example, you can just about do that anywhere. But I would not want to have goggles on at any public events where there's so many people around. It's a lot going on. So get out of town. I mean that's what I'll do. I go out and find a nice big farmer's field somewhere, where you know that just no one's going to mess with you, no Karens, or an AMA field. AMA field's great. I mean, the benefit of paying right now, the benefit of paying like $100 to join a club locally and then pay for an AMA for a year or two. Um, you get that free magazine. It's almost worth it right now just to be able to go sit in the field somewhere. And our local field is really big. So I have plenty of ground. There's always a spotter around, somebody to watch me flying. So it's just a win-win situation right now with everything that's going on. Having that little bit of peace of mind that someone can't walk up behind you and be like, "Hey," the first thing they ask you is, "What are you doing?" That's the most annoying question to me. Is like when someone comes up behind me and I'm flying a drone and they say, "What are you doing?" I would never walk up to someone in public and walk up behind them and say, "What are you doing?" It may be because I'm from the East Coast. Because if you pull that shit in New Jersey or New York, someone may turn around and give you some lip service or maybe a knuckle sandwich. Um, so not a good question to ask somebody in public. What are you doing? Unless you're looking for a fight, and a lot of Karens are looking for a fight. So um, good luck with that. Josh says he was thinking about traveling to the U.S. I got a drone with all my papers, the right to fly, paid for my license and everything, but it's like a no go. You could depending on where you're going. If you're coming to Atlanta, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, um, Phoenix, Denver, or Minneapolis, I would probably avoid those cities. If you're far outside of town somewhere and you're going to Kansas somewhere in the middle of nowhere, bring your drone. If your buddy has a farm, bring your drone. Absolutely, you and your buddy could fly, have no problems. The local police might actually come join you and fly with you, because police like drones too. Police are guys like everybody else. They like cool tech. So I was at a meeting a couple weeks ago. We had the regional director come down from Seattle to join our meeting, and he was saying that the AMA is also working on some of the stuff with the FCC, trying to find out what's exactly happening with the hobby components and things like that. But so far, I haven't seen that a lot of components are really, you know, outright being banned for basic stuff, airplanes, small drone parts, things like that. Uh, Even like motors and stuff. I think it depends on the certain class of stuff. So maybe some of the hobby stuff will be okay. And this year, like some of the retailers are talking about, this year's going to be a sort of a transition year to figure out what's actually happening. And no one's really going to know for the first, it seems like 6 months. So if you're in a position right now to, if you wanted to make an order, someone asked me recently, could they make an order from Beta FPV? I think you can. I think you can still get stuff from Beta FPV, and I think you can get stuff from Radio Master because a lot of the stuff Radio Master has, a lot of the stuff already has FCC approval. And the smaller, tiny hobby stuff that doesn't, it didn't need one in the first place. So how does that work out, right? But yeah, after today's video, I just wanted to hop on here and see if you guys had any like immediate questions because I feel like things are kind of weird right now, and I feel like this is kind of an important time for all of us to connect. Ja asked if I think Skydio will get back in the game for hobbies. No, I don't. I don't see that happening. It's not going to happen. Happy RC says that they just need more of our money, hard-earned money, to keep our rights. AMA is sounding like the NRA. They need more money to do what they have been saying and been going to do for years. So, happy RC Flower. I have some input on that right now, and as you could may have guessed, the AMA is actually down. Uh, they're they're in the red as far as um, being profitable. They're not profitable right now. They're losing money left and right, and the AMA is on its way down. So if the AMA folds, well, I mean, you do get some type of insurance with AMA coverage. Recently, here locally, somebody was flying at one of the parks where they allow some RC flying, and there's just everybody's doing their thing there. And I believe he hit a dog, and he had some medical bills with the dog. Person was really upset about that. He apologized, and the AMA covered the expenses for that accident. They deemed it an accident, and I don't know if they had video of it or whatever, but the AMA reviewed it and they covered his accident. So that's pretty cool. I mean, he wasn't even at an AMA field, which is kind of interesting to me. A friend of mine at our local field told me about that. There's something to be said right there. They're supposed to give you up to about $1 million insurance with an AMA membership. If you don't know what AMA is, it's American Modelers Association. American Modelers Academy or Association? Which one? One of the two. But yeah, so I mean, it has some perks. I've been a member of the AMA since holy crap, early 2000s, and I was a kid. A member when I was a kid, just because back then it was what the old timers told you to do, and if you want to fly the field, you got to do what they tell you. Kind of like now, the old timers tell you guys what to do and where to fly, and where you can't fly. So I got a short amount of time tonight, but I really thought we needed to get together as a community and be able to discuss this. Maybe we could have more of a discussion later, and I'll schedule one out in advance. Uh, who knows? Maybe we can have someone who's very active on and have some comments from them as well. Maybe I can get up with Vic Moss or Rupert, Jonathan Rupert, also very well established lawyer in the drone field, one of the most proactive lawyers. Who knows? Maybe we'll have the borders are come on. And lately it's been feeling like seems like it's been feeling like as crazy as it is in the media. I feel like it's been this crazy for the hobby too. Like, I mean, not with the killing and the shootings and stuff in the media, it's crazy. Um, but as far as all the negative stuff coming down the pipe for the drone hobby seems to be pretty heavy. Uh, I mean, so much so that it's just like it's almost overwhelming for me, being in the captain's seat here on this channel. It's like, man, maybe we should start just doing bikes or something on the channel. Would that be less stressful? Um, one of these days, you have to have a license to drive an electric bike or something. Who knows? Hey, take care, Ja. Hope the Bahamas are treating you well down there. Hopefully, they're not bullying you while you're flying a drone. No Bohemian Karens. I wonder what the Bohemian Karen would be called. Bumbleclot. No, that's Jamaican. I'm such a white dude. Unless it's a bike that's sub 250 grams. Probably right. And then, there's everything's pretty regulated. There's a lot of laws surrounding electric bikes too. Uh, they want you to wear a proper helmet. We got kids around here riding Surons going the wrong way down the street in the bike lane. So it's crazy. Those things will do 60 miles an hour. But it is popping out there. And yeah, I've been. Sometimes I'll pull up these videos, these live streams, and just check out. It's nothing's really happening that much in these videos, but I have to mute it most of the time because it's pretty obnoxious. I don't know how many times I can hear "fuck ice" over and over. I don't enjoy that to hear that over and over. It's crazy. So I do have some reviews coming up. Some really awesome reviews, actually. I've got some new stuff coming in from Horizon Hobby. Thank you, Horizon Hobby. I also have some FMS stuff coming up. I have some HGLRC. I have some newbie drone and Recon FPV. So some really cool reviews coming up. You were thinking about doing a bus build series, a 40-foot school bus. People like that kind of stuff. Automotive, drones, GUNS. I can't really say the word, probably get flagged. I probably get flagged for the word drone anyway, and that's why the videos are suppressed. Otherwise, we'd have 4,000 people right now watching because if you go watch any of those rebroadcasts, there's always like 22,000 people watching or 10,000 or some high volume of people. Uh, so drone channels are definitely suppressed. They, I feel like that they don't want you to fly your drone right now at all. I mean, if you were to ask them quite honestly, do you want us to fly our drones? They'd probably be no. Probably say no. What's up, Quad Cav 2? It's crazy, man. East Coast. It is definitely crazy out there. And man, you know what? I'm not here to tell anybody whether they should be out protesting or not. Like everyone has their own lane that they travel. Um, and you get to choose your own lane. That's what makes America great. That's what makes America awesome. We get to all choose our own lanes, and you can even change lanes if you want to. Shit. Some people drive in two lanes. If you're from the East Coast, you probably do. I own both these lanes. Those are my lanes. I did not get the UMX 30mm Viper. I want that plane. Yeah, I do. Uh, we also have some stuff coming from Hobby King. So if you're watching this live stream, good for you because you're hearing some of the stuff that's coming up. Uh, Hobby King is also in, transitional phase. Are they going to be able to have new stuff coming in, or they're just going to have to sell the same old crap forever? Uh, might have to recycle the same old designs over and over. Maybe you paint them different or something. Hey, this is a new one. Everybody in every single other country around the world has all the latest and greatest, newest innovations for RC airplanes and quads. Um, so,
Still going strong?
yeah, just a few minutes. I'll be off in just a few minutes.
It's gonna maybe start dinner.
Okay.
Like real rice, or did you want to do the frozen
Um, real rice?
real rice?
Yeah,
Is the rice maker inside?
it's underneath the cabinet.
Just do like 1 to 1, right?
Yeah. But yeah, it's about dinner time here, folks. Mrs. Camp's checking in for seeing like uh, what my preference is for dinner. She's on dinner tonight because I'm on the live stream. CCH says, I'm tired of living in unprecedented times. When millennials get a break from history. Dude, I would love let's have like a 10-year break from the chaos, please. Um, I was telling someone at the field the other day, we were just kind of talking about this a little bit, and I was telling him about what I told Mrs. Camps. We are, as human beings, we are tribal. We do like to side up with factions and um, join parties. That's why we have Democrats and Republicans and independents and a bunch of different Green Party and all this stuff. But what I was talking about was like, I wonder what the mental health of people that lived a couple hundred years ago, and you're based out of your town, your village, and you didn't really know what was happening barely knew what was happening in the next town over. And sometimes you would hear news about what was happening over there. Um, somebody's house burned down, or somebody cheated on their wife, things like that, like small stuff, like not um, like news in Gaza or um, Iran. Uh, Protests constantly happening. This COVID stuff like that. This constant like just bam, 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 bam of like the worst news you think you've ever heard in your life every other day. And that amount of stress makes me wonder, like, aside from trying to survive an Indian attack 200 years ago, what was the stress? That type of stress didn't exist back then. It was more like, how are we going to put food on the table? How are we going to feed the kids? How are we going to keep everybody safe and my wife? Uh, keep the wagon train going, something like that. But now, as humans with technology, we're receiving all this information daily, and we're just absorbing all that stuff. Right? It's becoming a part of us. It's infiltrating our thoughts, the way you think, and your overall mental health. I've seen a lot of videos recently on YouTube saying turn it off, turn off the news, and that's why we're seeing independent news becoming so successful right now, because people are tired of listening to what Fox, CNN, NBC, CBS, ABC are telling us. CCH says, I mean, survival stress. I feel like I'd be great at the stress. Survival stress, yes. Not getting hit by an arrow. That's a different kind of stress. That's much more immediate. It's not happening 3,000 miles away. That'd be a long distance arrow. Happy RC Flower says that's a reason why I don't have TV, but you do have a computer and a phone. You don't need a TV these days to feel the stress of the world. So, as humans, I've said this before on the channel. I don't think we're equipped to handle the stress of the world. Uh, there's something to localization. Just living a local life, um, locals only. Yeah, and CCH says modern life sucks. I miss the '90s. That's kind of why a lot of people are like, you know, falling back on analog stuff. I saw something about Gen Z. They were going back to analog and 1990 stuff. They're going back to tramp stamps, smoking, and something else. Flip phones. Um, we can do without the tramp stamps. And people they were saying that Gen Z was getting those tramp stamps because it was a way to stand up for their rights as a person or something. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm too Gen X for that shit. If I see a tramp stamp, I think, shut. That's what I think. especially if it's a guy. Hello. There can be male sluts too. I do have some build videos coming up as well, so I'm going to help you guys with some tutorials on some build videos, and also some radio setup coming up. So we're going to do some Edge TX. We're going to get back to some building videos as well. Get back to the old school DIY beginnings of the hobby. And it's not because I don't have enough stuff coming in, because you know, that's not the case. Quiet Kevin says they're also trying to ban 3D printers and add spyware onto 3D printers to invade privacy. Um, yeah, they don't. I think they just want to have robots make everything for us, and all of us shut the hell up. AI robots in the factories taking over everybody's jobs, and you'll get a certain amount of money. It'll be like a digital version of communism. But they don't want people making 3D printed gun parts. That's part of it. Washington State, I believe, was right now working on some 3D printer, some type of bans. Uh, I don't. They weren't banning 3D printers. They were banning the making and selling or owning 3D printed gun parts. I mean, that's a whole nother like YouTube channel too. Like some of the stuff that's happening with gun rights and ATF and things like that. That's a whole nother can of worms. Yeah, Washington cooked. Uh, nice sign. Hey, you gotta respect people's opinion, right? Just holding it right there in front of the camera. Denver, Colorado, representing at least one person is. Oh, they want to look through your files. Well, a lot of the files for 3D printers are cloud based these days. They want you to use the app, so you send it through the cloud, and then they can see what you're printing. But if you have your printer connected to Wi-Fi anyway, if you're printing gun parts and you're in Washington, you probably get caught pretty quick, because everything is fairly real time these days with Palantir and AI. So whatever you type, chat, look at, things like that, just expect that people know. As long as you're not doing anything illegal, they don't care. They don't care what kind of prawn you look at, as long as it's legal prawn. Ooh, Bamboo software sends alerts for GUN parts, I heard. It sounds about right. Happy RC. I would believe it. With new AI software coming out too, might be a better time to fly some old school analog drones, and maybe some drones that don't have AI type software on it, because who knows? Maybe we'll be the last man standing with the old school drones. Um, because the new school drones might be, number one, listening to you, like Alexa. Number two, tracking where you fly, how high, and doing all that in real time and reporting it back to Palantir. And then, as well as being able to take all of your vitals just by listening to you, how you breathe. They know all the diseases that you have. Some crazy stuff that they can figure out, that Alexa knows about you just by the sound of your voice. When it hears your voice, it can tell what things might be wrong with you physically. That's some crazy shit. And then so they start suggesting all kinds of medicine, advertising drugs to you. It's a wild world. My favorite thing is to do is walk by the Alexa and grab the back of the power cable and, you know, hug you. I like to unplug Bezos. Not because I'm paranoid about it. I just, I don't like Alexa. I bought 3 of them. 2 of them are in the closet somewhere, unplugged. I don't use it. You know, it's a nice way to listen to, like, to Spotify or whatever. Just say, "Hey, Alexa, play, uh, reggae." And Prince plastic handcuffs. Right. That'd be funny. You're like, "Man, that doesn't look like the part that I was printing. Why do I see a chain? Why is it printing silver?" It chose silver and now it's printing a chain. Shackles. They print shackles. You know, it's almost like a novel by Philip K. Dick these days. And I think at a certain point, with the way it is out there, that Philip K. Dick might even be a little bit impressed with our story. I mean, it used to be like, we watched a lot of movies on Netflix, and I used to go rent these like sci-fi things back in the 80s and 90s when I was a kid. And I loved B-rated stuff, sci-fi, just most ridiculous and horror movies like that were B-rated. The stupidest, idiotic stuff. Me and my buddy would just eat like an entire bag of chips, drink a Coke, and watch a dumb movie and just laugh so hard. Uh, and so movies and media became more extreme over time, like, and just became more extreme and more extreme. And a lot of it's based on crime and murder and drugs and things like that. And Um, I got kind of bored of that for a while. So I did Sundance films a lot. I watched a lot of independent films, sometimes foreign films. Some of those kind of suck, but um, things got more extreme. And at a certain point, when society became so extreme in the news, it's like when you watch one of those movies, it's kind of less surprising when you're watching a weird movie. Um, I think one of the best ones I watched recently was One Battle After Another. That one's really good. You should watch that. New DiCaprio movie. Really good. It's pretty wild. Still bothers me to see an upside down flag. And again, I agree with people exercising their right to protest and show your stickers and your signs and all this stuff. Yes, the stream went all Joe Rogan all of a sudden. But I think what I was getting to, my point about the movies, is that I don't think people watch as much movies anymore, just because unless you're like 12 or 13, you probably haven't seen it all, just about seen it all. But what's happening out there in the public, it's like you can't make this stuff up. It looks like a movie plot. So that's why there's all these simulation theories and things like that out there. I don't think I believe that. Every once in a while, I think there may be a glitch in the matrix, and I'm like, aha, I saw you fuckers. But yeah, V for Vendetta. I've seen that one. Happy RC Flyer says, I don't respect people who want to kill and law enforcement and destroy other people's stuff. Or anyone. Yeah. CCH says he has no problem with seeing people fly the flag upside down because I do believe America's in distress. You know, I see that. I see that side of things, CCH, because I, I've talked to people in the military as well that have some of the same kind of feelings. They love serving their country, but at the same time, they think there's some things that need to be fixed and addressed, especially if you're in the military. I don't think I've ever met a military person that didn't have that opinion. um, so if you've been in the military, you probably have that same exact opinion. Um, and that's just probably government in general, and everybody's boss. Whoever's your boss needs to be reformed. But I would say just be careful out there. Thinking about you guys a lot the last 48 hours with all the stuff that happened, with especially with the murder of Preddy, or the shooting. We don't know that it's specifically a homicide yet. It's under investigation. But man, it's another tough thing that are going to have to figure out. And yeah, it would be a tough day to be wearing those uniforms, because you are definitely under counter surveillance. Everybody's watching you, everybody's filming you, and they're going to judge you for your actions. And, like we talked about before, like even, the guy that was concealed carry at the protest, he went to the protest with a firearm. There's going to be possible violence at the protest. Um, and even if he trained with his firearm, or maybe he had some type of, I don't know, maybe he was ex-military. I don't think he was. Um, People don't know how they're going to react in certain situations. And in today's society, if you react the wrong way, that could get you killed. So it's very important to make good choices. And I think a big part of those choices is, like, in my opinion, like, he's exercising two rights, 2A right and first A right. But I personally wouldn't be walking around any protest with a firearm. Me personally. You may be different than me, but I wouldn't take my ass down there with a firearm. I'm not law enforcement trained, and even if I was, yeah, yeah. I sometimes think, what would Jesus do? I saw a talk a while back where there was a situation where some guys were training in the military, and they were coming back from a pretty heavy experience, and everyone was out of food, and all these guys were starving. Um, and the one of the guys was sitting there, and he was the head guy, and he pulled out like some Skittles. And there's a big story about the Skittles, but he ate a couple Skittles, and he looked up, and one of the other guys across the way was like, "Hey man, can I have a couple of those Skittles?" Just dying for something in his mouth, to eat. And um, he looked over at him and was like, "Hell no, man. You should have conserved your food." Because that one Skittle, he was saying, would get him like a couple, 2 or 3 more miles. Just having that one Skittle to eat. Um, And it was interesting because some type of review came up, and he was supposed to get promoted, and then one of the guys reported him for not giving him one of those Skittles. And so it came up in conversation when he was about to get promoted, and he was sitting there listening to this, and he was like, "Man, those guys, the one guy and the other guy was sitting beside him reported me for not sharing my Skittles." And supervisor was like, "Yeah, man, we heard you didn't share Skittles with your squad." And he said, "What would Jesus do in that situation?" You should think about that. You're supposed to look out for your guys. You're supposed to give them the shirt off your back. Um, and that hit him pretty hard because then he realized, man, he's freaking right. I mean, even if you don't believe in Jesus, but it's like doing what's right, right? Do the right thing. Like that's just completely flipping the script. Um, because he was putting the blame on the guy. Uh, so that's why, like, sometimes I'll see a homeless person, I get two sides to me thinking. One thinking, "Oh man, this is a drug addict," and the other side of me is thinking, "Man, I should give him something to eat, or I should give him one of my sodas or something or whatever." Sometimes I'll just pull over and give him a soda, uh, non-sugar soda, right? But I don't know, man. Practice compassion. I think that's what the world needs right now. It's a little compassion, care about each other. Try to keep yourself local, and just be a good human. Just be a good human and be nice to people. Mhm. Yeah, they do 2-way protests, and everyone shows up with guns. Yep. Ah, crap! I said the keyword. Now the algorithm's gonna put me further down. And we don't have the same algorithm right now on YouTube as we had like even like 2 years ago. Now it's an AI algorithm, so everything works in real time, and I can watch as my videos are released. If it's a pretty hot topic, sometimes it'll go straight up. Go straight up like this, and then you'll see it flatline. It's almost like someone turned off the spigot, like burp, and it flatlines. And that happens within 2 to 3 hours sometimes. So it's weird. It's weird how it all happens in real time. It's way more real time than it was back in 2020. Mm. And I thought back in 2020 we're gonna see aliens and Jesus come down at the same time. Like with all this chaos that's happening right now, there was fires back then, there was COVID. Uh, Everything was burning down around us out in Oregon. There was the George Floyd thing. There was protests downtown. There was Black Lives Matter marching by my house. I was like, "Well, this is the end of the world. This is the apocalypse," and I think Jesus and aliens are about to come down at the same time on my street. I would not be surprised. I mean, that's about how it feels right now. But I was telling Mrs. Camps yesterday, I am an eternal optimist, and I think that we'll make things better if we stick together. Or else everyone's gonna suffer until morale improves. That's right. Have some compassion for people and have some mercy for the person that you don't know. Try not to judge too quick. Um, that's why I always say, if someone walks up to me when I'm flying, I get defensive sometimes, and then I realize like, hey, this person's just concerned, or it's just a straight asshole anyway. So I'm just gonna go somewhere else, or they possibly own the piece of property I'm standing on. Who knows? So time to exit stage left and don't say a damn word. Keep trucking. Live to fly another day. But yeah, you guys, I appreciate you supporting the channel, hanging out with us. I don't want to get too deep into the protest thing tonight. Maybe we'll dive into a little bit of that later. Some of the moving NOTAMs as well. Some more information on that as that comes up and surfaces. Uh, but this is the first time in history that we've had a moving NOTAM, a moving security and safety uh, um, situation with the FAA. So if you want to find out your local NOTAMs, you can go on the FAA's website and you can search in your locality. Um, but the thing is, I don't know that the convoy is going to show up in that. So how is anybody supposed to know? That's the big question in the community, and I think a lot more people should be asking a lot of questions about how is this going to work, and like, especially if you're a commercial operator. You have your Part 107, but it applies to you too. Many months ago now, I had applied to my local AMA field because of exactly the things like that are happening now. We are a FRIA, and we're an established site. Now, what happens if ICE drives by our FRIA on the way out to a farm somewhere? Does that apply to us? Who knows? I doubt it. It's going to be situational. I think that's what's going to happen, though. Um, it's going to be dependent on the person, where they're flying, how high they're flying, and what they're doing. Just like the guy flying over top of the wildfires out there, hit a freaking Canadian airplane that was trying to fight the fire. Uh, so choose wisely where you decide to fly. If you fly out in the middle of this crap right here, you're poking the tiger. Don't poke the tiger, because a tiger will turn around and bite your ass. Um, so be careful out there. Don't do anything crazy. Choose wisely. And hey, it's whoop season. Fly your whoop. Yeah, fly your whoop and just, avoid confrontation. Tigers can't fly, CCH says, and neither can you. He'll be on the ground right behind you. So that's all I got to say about that. I have to go get some grub, you guys. I will. I'll see you guys later. Just wanted to catch up with you guys real quick and give you my thoughts on what's happening lately. We'll do some more talk about the moving NOTAMs coming up. Yeah, I'll give you some more information on that. Look out for tomorrow's review. It's going to be good. Love you guys. Stay safe out there and practice some compassion to your fellow man. Happy FBV, guys.